Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
Also, if you are looking for something new and different for the upcoming Compliance Week celebration in November, check out The Compliance Kids. It's my 3-book children's series on compliance and compliance professionals for children. But they make great gifts and great training tools for your employees. You can check it out on Amazon.com. We've linked to it in the show notes. The Daily Compliance News for October 1, 2024, the Not a Bribe in New York edition. We begin with that story from Bloomberg, as the attorney for Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, has been charged with bribery and corruption, has filed a motion to dismiss, claiming, hey, this is not a federal crime and bribery is not illegal, at least the bribes that were paid to Eric Adams. So very unusual for the motion to dismiss to be filed this quickly. Nevertheless, they're going to take an aggressive approach and try to get the Supreme Court to say, once again, not a bribe, even if it's a bribe. Next up, we have actually this episode 2 first-time contributors to the Daily Compliance News, a little bit unusual, but the first one is from TechEU, which reports that the company Atlas Metrics has got 12.2 million euros in funding to simplify ESG reporting and compliance. Atlas Metrics provides an all-in-one platform for ESG compliance and sustainability management. And this funding is a Series A funding, so it will allow them to grow their organization and provide a much-needed shift for greater transparency and accountability in business practices and ESG. Next up, our second first-time contributor, the Atlantic Council, who reports that accelerating business confidence in Guatemala and provides a roadmap. Now, business confidence, of course, is a large part around no bribery and corruption. So an interesting article which lays out how Guatemala can get back in the good graces, literally the rest of the world, or at least in the Americas. They have to overcome some weak institutional capabilities, and they can't be fixed overnight. And certainly the TICPI places Guatemala near the bottom, but it provides that roadmap. And our final story comes to us from Reuters, who reports that U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor will hold a hearing on October 11th around the victims of the Boeing 737 MAX air crashes, objections to the settlement agreement and guilty plea by Boeing, which has been accepted by the Department of Justice. The families of the victims want greater oversight by the court, greater penalties, financial and otherwise. So it's going to be interesting to see what the court does in this case and if they will accept carte blanche, the DOJ agreement. As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.